You did it last time.
Huh?
I did it last time. There you go.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I feel like a deer in headlights. Hi, guys. Thank you very much. Good night. Hi, guys.
See you
Welcome
later.
yeah, bye. Welcome to Situation's Corner and Scapari with Callum. Today, we're just going to have a general chit chat today, and we're just going to discuss really kind of what toys we kind of grew up with and what got us to where we are today. What influenced us during our journey of action figures from...
I mean, you've got a lot more decades to go through than what I have, so.
hang on, I think my hair is slightly forward than yours. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose I have got a few decades, but you know, we all stop at a certain point, don't we? So
Do we? We're still going.
well, there was a few years that I stopped collecting big time.
Oh, well, yeah, I kind of stopped collecting for like a few years. I moved on to those like pop vinyls and then sold them all.
Oh, there was me thinking you was cool.
No, that's why I sold them all.
Yeah.
Because then I wanted to get Black Series.
Yeah.
What mistake that was.
Yeah. Well, my Black Series collection kind of grew from its original kind of release on there anyway. So, hey ho. All right. So basically, let's discuss where I started from. To no one, because there's no one in chat yet. But
Yeah.
I'll just ramble on my own, I guess, and people start joining.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, yes, obviously there's a few decades between us. I was born in 1981. So
God, dear.
I
How
know.
many numbers is that?
And things were in colour, which I'm quite happy about.
All right.
Yeah. So
You didn't have the legacy figures then?
No. So first started, well, so I was in the era of Star Wars. You've got to bring up the screen. We was going to...
Yeah, do you want to start with the... Well, am I starting with that Star Wars one,
Yeah, start with that one.
Oh, we've got a comment.
Psychotic Shark. Can I click? I'm going to have to bring my... Literally, my arm is killing me today.
There we go. I'll zoom in.
Yeah, I'll say zoom in. Jesus. Hi, buddy. Hope you're okay. So, yeah. So, where I started, where I grew up was... so, obviously, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back was already released. And then Star Wars. And I remember having the Star Wars figures with my brother. But I only remember watching Star Wars when I was probably about 6, I think. So these figures were, but I kind of knew what they were, but without watching the films. Does that
like
make
the
sense?
ones, aren't they? I've never had a figure like that, but they're the ones that just move like that, aren't they?
Yeah, 5 point of A. So head twist, arms and legs just move. There's no twist joints or other parts.
Some modern Black Series.
Yeah, exactly like that. Well, a bit like the Titan figures, you know, like the really big ones.
Yeah.
So, I'm great, Harry. What happened to your arm? Well, I've been trying to lose a bit of weight. Yeah, I've been trying to lose a bit of weight, so I've been doing the 100 push-ups since the 1st November. I've been doing that.
Now.
No, I won't stop. But I need a bit of a rest day. But I did do a bit of work today. I did pick up a sofa and bits like that, which kind of didn't help my aching arm already.
Box or something.
Well, no, yeah, but yeah, it's probably the aches it's been achy a week. I thought it was getting better, but today's like really hurt. Anyway, so yeah, with Star Wars, and that started the coreness of collecting figures. I remember going into my local toy shop with my brother, and just going like, because it was always, I want that one, so we always end up with like 2 each, and loads of other things and stuff like that. And it was just so cool, like just these cool figures, like
And to
so
be
many
honest,
different characters as well.
they're quite bright looking. But you
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're not dark colours.
No, that's what I mean. And actually, the sculpt I think for those the day and age is pretty good. Like Chewbacca, the paintwork on there is pretty good. Probably got more paint apps than some Black Series these days.
Do you know what? That's a better.
Jawa.
That's I was gonna say better Jawa and a better Chewbacca.
Yeah, yeah, I just those figures though. It's just like I think they just have such a sort of quality about them that they kind of ageless. If that makes sense, like they just kind of look pretty cool.
They don't look out of place either. Like if you have them on a shelf with Black Series and stuff, it's kind of like it doesn't look like they're completely out of date. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So I've got a nice C3PO, probably the same one, still boxed in Black Series.
Yeah, it's even better though because it's actually got the carbonized thing on it, which they don't do no more because apparently it's like really sort of bad for the environment or something.
Rubbish.
But yeah, I don't really know. But yeah, so that I had those, but also at the same time as well, a lot of my influence of toy collecting was actually from my brother as well. My brother was 7 years older than me, so he always played a lot more. So then went Action Force.
Is that the next one?
Yeah, so it's this one. I think these are actually made by Polytoy in the UK. So G.I. Joe over here was called Action Force, but this company already released this Action Force line, so they're like 5 point of A as well. And obviously you can see they're more
quite
like
cool looking though, like this guy here.
Yeah, the S. Yeah,
yeah.
When you that was literally like my favorite figure of back then because like the proper SAS and stuff like that was one of my favorites. I used the guy in the blue, the frogman guy. That was my bath toy.
I was gonna say it looks like a banana.
Yeah, it was this massive sort of rubber thing that goes around on them.
Did you ever know Captain Scarlet? Do you ever know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of the one on the right.
Yeah, the sort of like the commander guy. Yeah. The end one is Baron Blood. He was like I suppose they were like the Cobra and stuff like that. They got inspired by sort of G.I. Joe. It was like our English alternative. So when Hasbro got the license, they released it with Action Force. So they kind of like, even though this isn't actually Action Force, it still falls under the same sort of umbrella of G.I. Joe over in the UK. So then basically it was G.I. Joe, which is next. And the good thing about all these is actually because they're 3.75, you could actually play with your X-Wings with the G.I. Joe characters. And I had like the Tomcat, I had the X-Wing fighting each other, or sometimes you might even had a standard character that you could pretend to transform like a superhero.
Storm Shadow down there on the bottom.
Yeah, you got Storm Shadow, you got Zartan, one of the twins, Gun Ho, Barbecue at the top. So it's just like literally just all those figures, and these ones are better articulate as well. They actually got bends in the elbow.
Wow.
They could actually come upwards as well, sort of like hinged up on the arms and rotate. And also they had bendy knees as well. Oh, and a waist swivel as well. So that was really good for the 80s. Although if you did spin them around, and they come with loads of accessories as well, and they look proper like sort of like real army guys. Like my favourite one's called Dusty, which I'll get the 6-inch when it comes out. Hi Dave, how you doing? But yeah, I mean that was pretty much my kind of sort of like 80s kind of thing. Even though other figures started coming out like Turtles and stuff, this was still my core. 3.75 Action Force vehicles, Star Wars characters.
We do cross over quite a bit with some of the stuff really that we had, whereas you had the start of it and I kind of had like the newer versions of the stuff.
Yeah, the sort of like the bits that sort of transcended into it. And also at the same time as this, I ain't got a picture of it, but Spider-Man figures started coming out as well, which is like Secret Wars and stuff like that. They're slightly a little bit taller than these ones. I would say probably like a 4-inch, 5 of A as well. But that's when I used to sort of play with like these sort of figures. Like you get like a sort of civilian looking one, and then I would make that Peter Parker, and he would turn into Spider-Man, and you know. So I literally even now the way what we do with our 6-inch figures is like I've always had this open universe for like figures crossovers.
It's good as well because a lot of them back then were the same scale.
Yeah.
So it didn't look out of place.
No. And that's it.
Now, like, you can have a Batman that's like this big, and next to like a Wolverine that's like this big.
Yeah, they're all sort of like up and down, aren't they? But even Marvel Legends, you look at them, the earlier Marvel Legends are this so big, and now they seem to like the scale is massive compared to others. But hi Roland. Yeah, so that's kind of like that was my kind of core 80s sort of stuff, and the influence from my brother, you know. So he was into older things like G.I. Joe and stuff like that, because by this time I was probably about 6 and 7 playing with these. But then the next biggest thing really is when it's really started kicking off, which is He-Man. Yeah, massive He-Man fan.
I only know He-Man and the Skull guy. What his name is?
Skeletor. I'm gonna snap you, boy.
They still sell He-Man figures in Smiths, don't they?
I know. Yeah, I mean, I've still got the He-Man. He's up there on Battle Cat and Skeletor, but it's the newer versions of these. But I didn't want to go
them like the new ones.
Nah, I would do. The thing is, like G.I. Joe as well. Like, I'm really holding back because it's like, oh my god, I want all those figures, and that's why I'm kind of collecting the retros because they look
that's
more.
Why every time I go
like,
into Nerdbase, I send you pictures of the G.I. Joe shelf.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely interested in the retro G.I. Joe more than I am the sort of other ones. If they look like the older versions, then I might dab a little bit. Or if any of my favourite characters come out, then I'll definitely get them. But with He-Man, yeah, it was a new scale. You know, it was a larger figure that you could actually physically really hold, and actually feel like, you know, he's got a bit of sort of like toughness behind it. You can actually bring up his arm and then sling him around so he can actually like punch the other figures. Do you know what I mean? Like the other characters are so fiddly.
I do remember these because my cousin's older than me, in his 30s, and he had these sort of figures. And I remember when I was really little going playing with some of these. But
yeah, it's weird because I can't remember going back. Like, I don't think I ever could stand a He-Man figure like solely standing there on its own because their legs had these kind of weird elastic
squatting, didn't they?
Things. Yeah, they're all gone floppy. I remember my He-Man lost his arm, and all other stuff as well. But so I used to use my Prince Adam as my He-Man in the end. But yeah, so it was these figures that really kind of opened up the imagination of toy collecting. It was Star Wars. G.I. Joe was very much like real world. Do you know what I mean? I know it's Star Wars, but it's still like gun shooting and stuff. But this was like swords and sorcery and stuff like that. So this is what opens up this. So it was He-Man and then Thundercats.
I remember Thundercats. I had a few of them. It was like kind of dying out when I was little.
Yeah.
I do remember it. Thundercats.
Yeah, I think
it's into more familiar territory now.
Yeah, coming up to your decade. But in Thundercats for me, it was like again the figures are bigger. They were a little bit in their own world because they were huge compared to other ones. Hi mate. But when I was into Thundercats, I was generally just into just Thundercats. There was never nothing else really that was kind of sort of touching it at the time. But it was never as good as He-Man. Like He-Man cartoons for me was a lot better than Thundercats, even though Thundercats really had a better story and better animation and everything. but He-Man was just, I think it got in there first, and that's why.
I find it funny with a lot of these 80s and 90s kind of shows. It's like they're so out there that they would not survive today. But like they come up with some of the best characters and stuff. Maybe they look really stupid, but like they've got some really cool characters. But nowadays, it's kind of like if you came out with like one of these, people would be like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah. I just generally think like nowadays as well, like because people are not really, because like they make cartoons to sell and stuff in the 80s. You know, it was the only thing that they could really get to kids. Now kids are not really into a lot of stuff, so it's like cheap animation. So the characters are very kind of like basic looking, very kind of kiddie looking, and then figures just don't generally sell. I mean, look at all the Spider-Man stuff that normally comes out, like Spider-Man, his friends, and all these sort of cute things like Paw Patrol things and stuff. And generally, my kids have never really been into any kind of cartoons or anything. My little girl was Paw Patrol.
Obviously, Belle's into Spidey's Amazing Friends, and she's got all like, the toys and stuff, and they're really nice for like that sort of age group, but they're not made to last sort of thing.
That's what I mean. They're just like quite cheap, and sometimes they're like a bit more like a model, like their legs are so static, you know, but their arms might move or something like that. So, yeah. Evening, matey. How are you doing?
Oh.
Yeah, so now we're coming into late 80s, early 90s, and for me, the Turtles have started taking over. Even though He-Man and other things, I still kept them in the box. They might have come out now and again, but Turtles just literally started dominating my whole collection. They were so hard to get hold of as well when I
still were when I was little as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I remember my first ever turtle was like I went to the newsagents and there was like this rip-off Donatello sort of thing. Like I remember the plastic; it was like smelt bad plastic for years. I got this sort of knockoff thing, and then I actually went to Tenerife with my parents, and there was a toy shop that literally had everything. And every day I was like, "Mum, please, can I have this one? Mum, please, can I have this?" And I come back with so many turtles. I had Shredder, Bebop. I literally had all those characters there. Just so happy. There was so many other different characters that are out there. You had the Frog Guys. You had Muckman. You know, like the Baxter, like the Fly Guy. There was just so many different kind of imagination things that around that time it all started coming out. Like Toxic Crusaders as well was another thing as well around that time. So yeah, it really started going into like just the big toy sort of thing of it, really.
You know I've always, you know, NECA do the like the animated looking ones as well. They remind me of those old turtles that I used to have. And every time I walk past them in a shop, I'm like, I need to get them, but I don't. Like I don't need to.
Buddy. Yeah, so I mean, these ones here are just really good. Like, just really good characters. Just so many different ones. And I didn't actually send a picture for this. I guess really after this, it was the superhero things that started taking off, and I was coming into my teens. So we had Batman, the 90s animation show, Spider-Man, X-Men, all those sort of figures, and I collected all those sort of types of ones there. And then
what are you moving on?
So after Spider-Man, Batman, and all that, oh Christ, yes, I forgot I sent you this picture. Visionaries. So these are about. This was sort of like around the time of Turtles and sort of the end of Action Force. They were slightly bigger.
Who are these?
Yeah, so a lot of people. I thought, a lot of people might not remember these, or it might jog a few people's memories and go, "Oh my god, yeah." Holograms and imagery and stuff on them. So they were these knights, and in their chest you could see like different animals and stuff, and they would actually turn into those animals in a holographic way, and obviously to get them out of mischief or danger or to attack and stuff like that. And
so similar
again,
to Power Rangers.
Yeah, but again, they were slightly bigger than GI Joes, but again, you could actually make them be sort of like super powered baddies or anything like picking up GI Joes and slanking them into the stomach and all that sort of stuff.
It just seems to be like this thing with like those sort of old kind of cartoons and toys, bright colours and ridiculous outfits. Like,
yeah,
it's just really weird.
Yeah, it's all a bit
this guy on the left-hand side, second in, looks like Halo, like a knockoff kind of Spartan. Like,
yeah, I think I can't remember what his name is. I remember him. I had him. It was like spikes and sort of stuff and all that on there. But yeah, some of the dinosaurs. What are the dinosaurs? All sort of wild stuff. Yeah, so let's just catch up with these guys here. Just pop in and say hello, playing games with the fam. So bye. Take care, mate. It's your best. I'm sad Jason David Frank, Green Ranger, passed away at 49. Rest in peace. Yeah, I know, mate. So I'm like quite... Power Rangers for me wasn't a really big thing in my childhood, but it's quite gutting because he was so sort of like fan loved. Do you know what I mean? He was like...
He's like the Ray Park of Power Rangers, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like
he's just embrace it. He was just like, you've made who I am and this is it, you know.
So I love watching like Ray Park and stuff like that at the conventions.
Yeah.
Where it's doing like the lightsaber kind of.
Yeah, and attacking the other guys. And Jason as well, he'd done a lot of fan made stuff as well with people as well, like especially in the Bat in the Sun as well, where he'd done a few bits as well. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, it's a pretty big character to be, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was the one that leaded the whole thing. You know, he went through he played in so many Power Ranger series as well. You know, and when he come back, it was like a major celebrity of the Power Ranger world, wasn't it? So, yeah, you know, but obviously, we're not 100% how he's died, but you know.
Rest his soul. I think I had some of these.
Yeah. Hi, Moore. How you doing? Yeah, so Power of the Force come in. So it must have come in about 97, I want to say. So
yeah, it was not like around when I was born and early 2000s. It was kind of a thing.
Yeah, so I was about 16. So Spider-Man for me was like my last kind of toy. I was playing toys quite a bit, and I just enjoyed collecting. But obviously, you just get that age where PlayStation comes out, you're just not really interested, and you know you kind of sort of come away from it. But yeah, Star Wars characters, and when Star Wars come out, even though these guys looked, they were like beefcakes, you know, like Luke's had a few steroids and muscle pecs and stuff. It was very 90s, but everyone went mad for them because they all thought, oh my god, the vintage collection figures are so expensive, so I'm going to start collecting these, and these will be really expensive as well. So everyone's kind of took to it, and I started collecting same kind of principle as I do with Black Series. I just wanted one of each character. There was a few sort of specials editions of Luke. I should have got the book. Actually, I've got a whole book of the vintage and this. So you would get like a sort of a different farm Luke, and he's got like a backpack thing strapped to it. I suppose like a deluxe, but I just didn't go for those. So I started collecting Power of the Force until so all those figures you see there, I had them all. I had them on a card, but yeah, and I opened them all, but they still was in their card. So I had all those figures. I had Power of the Force 1, Power of the Force 2, had all the other sort of special kind of carded ones, Shadows of the Empire and stuff, all the way up to, I suppose, the first launch of Phantom Menace figures. And then I sold them all for £100. Yeah, Mask, for me, was about, but I didn't get into it. Same as Transformers. Transformers wasn't a thing for me either.
I never really got into Transformers.
No, I never saw it on TV. I think because it was on Sky rather than actual. I mean, we only had 4 channels when I was growing up, but I know
What's
4
that?
channels. All it was Neighbours for BBC One, BBC Two, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 3 Home and Away, and 4 Eurotrash. That was it. That's what I remember from childhood. But yeah, so Mask for me, my mates had Mask and all that. I thought it was pretty cool, but they were just a little bit too small for me. And there was also, I never remember their name, but they looked like Mask, but they had magnets in their feet. And they sort of clicked on around all these other bits. Other figures I used to collect was Bionic 6. Just Captain Planet, but I wouldn't say they were like odd figures. They wouldn't be like what I call a core collection. A bit like what DC Universe is to me. I just handpick. I wouldn't say I collect them. I just sort of.
That's why I've kind of gone into some of the ones. Like, obviously, once I need to get all my photos up for stuff, but like some of them I've missed out because I had a few of them, but I didn't really go into them. So
what's the last one? I think
you've got
Top 3 Troopers.
You've got one last one here, but that mixes in with mine as well. So
yeah, it does. Yeah, Top 3 Troopers you want in Black Series. I will answer that towards the end. So where I sold all my figures, I was literally just done. I was absolutely done. I was like, I ain't collecting no more because I was so gutted that I sold everything. You know, it weren't just the figures. I had the Rancor, like literally I had all of it. And I was like, I'm not going to collect anymore. I'm done. And then these come out.
And these are good. Like, I've got these. Like, these are kind of like the last ones I ever collected before stopping.
Yeah.
And then, but I've still got them all.
But it's just, yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, I've got a few, but I did sell a lot. I don't know if my internet keeps cutting out, is it? Or yours? But yeah, the new Clone Wars come out, and I thought, do you know what? It's a chance to start collecting a brand new phase of Clone Wars. So what I did was I just started collecting them. I went crazy. I was getting all the Walmart exclusives, so all the sort of double packs, Waxer and Boyle. My major thing was any clone that could remove its helmet, I wanted. And that's what I did. I went out there and got quite a few.
And quite a lot of the clones in this series actually had removable helmets, didn't they?
If they didn't have removable, I weren't really that interested. I've always had a thing for a removable helmet.
I think I had most of these.
I think it adds
on this picture.
Yeah, I think I didn't have the sort of, I didn't really go for the droids. So the super battle droid I didn't really bother having.
I had all like the clones in the Jedi and the droid, the super battle droid. I had Droidica.
Yeah, and I remember when Cat Fisto got announced as well. I was like, oh my god, it looks amazing.
I remember going to because when this came out, what was it, 2007, 2009? So I would have been
8.
Yeah, so I would have been what, 9, 10?
27.
9 or 10. I remember going to London and not a single toy shop had Kit Fisto.
Yeah.
And we went into Hamleys and they had one
Jesus,
last one.
Like 30 quid.
No, that was back when stuff was decent price. But I remember getting him and I've still got him today. So Bell's got some of my old ones now, some of these Clone Wars ones. He's got them up on the shelf.
Mine's keeps coming. Yeah, but yeah, that was it, and I started collecting that. Then I basically just thought I stopped because it was getting harder to get hold of. Because back then you didn't really have any online shops. No. It was all kind of eBay and other bits like that. So
I've just stopped screens for a minute so I can get more photos up.
Yeah, that's fine. And then I went from that, collected Lego for a little bit, probably about 8 years, and then where we are today, Marvel Legends, Black Series, and everything else. So yeah, it's been a long journey. It's a lot of plastic as well. Wonder how much landfill I could. Yeah. I used to have the wrestling figures as well back in the day.
I used to actually. Yeah, I forgot to get a picture of them. I need to get.
I used to have especially the ones with the bushwhackers, and they had all these actions and stuff like that. The Ultimate Warrior and other bits like that. So
I can't remember what series of wrestlers I had because I had a mixture of those different ones. But I'll try and find some.
For me and my childhood, it was Star Wars, Transformers, X-Men, Spider-Man. Sadly, there weren't any Star Wars in the toys in my region. Very basic Marvel. Had more luck with Transformers. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, for me, X-Men as well was a thing out there. I used to. It was kind of like a little second-hand toy shop, but he sold them at reasonable prices. So you just walked in there, and there were all these little plastic bags and stuff. And it was a good chance to go back and actually start collecting some old ones as well. I mean, I did have the first Marvel Legends waves as well when they first come out. I sort of tried dabbing a few times into sort of toys, but because you're in your early 20s and stuff like that, you kind of you get a few, and then you're like your attention spans about here, there, and everywhere, and you're like, oh, I'll go and buy that game. But I spent too many hours playing Star Wars Galaxies and EverQuest and games like that on the PC in the end. So just sitting in the dark for 13 hours a day.
Right. I've got most of mine up. I would go in order.
Take it away, Sam.
I would go in order for mine, but where mine was kind of I've got less decades on mine. It was all merged into one. So I can't really. Well, that was before that. I'm just rearranging when stuff came out, really.
When was you born?
98.
98. James.
Yeah. So it was. Well, I guess Thunderbirds was before then.
Yeah, Thunderbirds that was before my time.
Yeah, but it kept coming out it was new.
Yeah, yeah, with bloody Blue Peter and Anthea Turner making a Tracy Island. I just could never see the appeal in Thunderbirds. Never. Captain Scarlet. I couldn't see it. I remember Captain Scarlet used to come on about 6 o'clock after Neighbours, and it was always on a Friday because my mum was like, "I'm going to go down the Chippy." And then Captain Scarlet come on. I go, right, yeah, I'm coming with you. I'll go and play Street Fighter in the arcade.
Captain, now I'd be like, what the hell? I'm not watching that. But Belle was watching the new Thunderbirds, the new animated one. And I was getting into it. I thought, God, this is quite cool actually, because where it's not puppets anymore, you can actually get into it a bit better. Anyway, we shall. Yeah.
Well, you mean puppets, and then all of a sudden, this human hand just clicks a switch.
Right, let's share the screen. So, can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't really get good photos of the Thunderbirds ones because where it's so many different kind of decades of Thunderbirds, it's all kind of mixed up. But I used to have this Tracy Island, and
it looks like a Micro Machine.
Yeah, I mean it looks bad now, but I loved it when I was little. Do you know what I mean? When I think I was about 4 or 5, when I had this, and like you could press the button down here, and like all this would pop up, and you'd have Thunderbird 1 come out. The top would lift off, Thunderbird 2 comes out, and I thought it was really cool when I was little, and absolutely loved it. And it's only recently I actually got rid of this.
Could have been a backdrop.
It's like but actually
you say you got rid of it, but it was actually your mum, and you were screaming while she went to the boot fair, and your mum's like taking it. It's like, no, Callum, he's got to go.
No, my dad, he likes doing all that.
That's why he likes you painting all your figures. He's like, oh yeah, I could sell that.
He's thinking, yeah, when that's worth something, I'll come and nick them. But yeah, I'll move on to the other Thunderbird stuff. So this was like the die-cast stuff that it came with. Really bad photo of it. But it was kind of like the newer. This was like Thunderbirds from the really bad film they did. From like 2003, I think it was the film, where it's like real people. But they were Thunderbirds from that. Let's move on from Thunderbirds because let's face it, it's not that good. But then moves
next up, Thomas the Tank Engine.
There's Power Rangers. Wild Force was kind of like my main one I grew up with. Hence why
look at that figure.
These are really cool actually, and they have them in Nerd Base, and I was like so tempted to get them for Bell because they're cool. But you could squeeze their legs, sort of thing. They'd spin round and they'd transform, so they'd morph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like his head would go in, his normal head would come out, and then arms, you could change all the arms and stuff on them. And it was I just really liked them. And Wild Force was kind of like my main Power Rangers I kind of grew up with. It was like the one after In Space, I think it was before this. And but this was the main one. And then after I started watching this Power Rangers, I then delved into all the others as well. So like the original from like olden days, which Steve used to know. And so like everyone's moaning like this guy that's died. To me, really, I didn't really know him in Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's the older one, isn't he? So
yeah, so I'm like, you know, my White Ranger is this girl here, and Luna Wolf up here, who I've got a new figure of now, like an updated one, and that's what I kind of like you were saying, like having modern day versions of old toys.
Yeah.
So like you think the Luna Wolf I had was like this. This was the one I had, sort of thing. And obviously there's the Blue Ranger who I've got on pre-order. But like when you think of the articulation on these Power Rangers now, it's just amazing. Like you can still play with them the same, but you can get better kind of poses out of them, and better.
Yeah.
Like,
well, our play is a little bit different to back then play. Well,
yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Like to think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but if you think like back then, if you had like a figure like we do now, what you could have done with that, like
well, I know back if I had these figures back when I was a kid. I mean, by now I'd be like, their arms would be like spinning because they'd be so loose. Like it would be like thrown in the box and then come back and all that. Like
your paint would be chipped.
Yeah.
But yeah, Power Rangers was the main thing. After this one, it kind of went on to SPD and stuff like that. Then Action Man, that's kind of the same sort of era as Power Rangers, really, for me. I have two here. This was the Gangrene I used to have. I used to love this guy.
The picture's well small.
Yeah, I need to zoom it in. There you go. Kind of looks like Steve.
On a good day.
He was really cool. I mean, he had like goo and stuff coming out of him, and like all the Action Men. It's kind of like, I guess, a boy's version of Barbie, wasn't it? Action Man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you had all these different guns and different camos and armor and stuff you could put on them, and I used to love them. I have loads of them.
They come out of the you get all like the sets as well, didn't you? Like, you could have a standard Action Man, and you could get like I don't know, air attack, kind of costume and accessory pack.
Like you can get for like Barbies, I guess today. Like you can used to be like just buy the clothes and just buy the like the weapons and armor and stuff separate. So you didn't have to keep buying a brand new Action Man every time. You could just change the look of all of them and stuff.
I remember when Action Man was about. I just always still remember that they kept bringing him out.
Obviously, I was in 2000, so I was early 2000s, all my stuff. But it kind of died. It was dying out at this point. It was like 2005, I think it ended. So I would have had this in about 2003, 2004. Sort of era. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen because you can't see my head. But yeah, so I had these just as I was dying out, sort of thing. But they were really cool. I used to love them, and if they was out today, if they did figures of these, it'd be really cool.
In 6-inch.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Like if they redid all your He-Man stuff and your Thundercats in 6-inch form with the articulation, would you get them? No. Really?
Oh, maybe. I probably would get a few. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, they do the Super 7 stuff, but it's like
you have to get the main stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super 7. Some of them stuff's really good, and some of it's really bad.
Yeah, it's never consistent.
And then obviously, similar to Steve, we had the Ninja Turtles coming out, and can't remember what series it was like. I forgot what. I think it was literally just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I didn't think it was called anything, but the series I used to watch. But I remember these, like the old ones, you used to have really hard to get as well. I used to have obviously all the Turtles, Shredder, and Shredder was the hardest one to get. I remember like I wanted him for my birthday or something. My mum couldn't get him anywhere, and obviously online shopping weren't as big back then.
No, that's it. Yeah.
And so she went to all these different toy shops to try and find him, and then she went to this one like independent toy shop, and they had the one Shredder that I wanted, and now I don't have him anymore. So, but I had loads of foot soldiers, and I had Han as well. I remember Beat Bop and Rocksteady were quite hard to get as well. But I really liked this, and I remember my
they actually look quite good. Actually,
they are good. I think I've still got some of them. No, I haven't. I sold them. But they are quite good figures, actually. They're not really good articulation. Like their elbows were static, their knees were static. So it's kind of 5 point, I guess.
Okay. But I mean, normally I'm kind of quite skeptical about Turtles when they get re-released, but they don't look too bad. I kind of like the look of the action figures. Although I really did like the Nickelodeon first series of Turtles. Like I managed to get my boy into that.
They were good for like their time, I guess. Now, obviously, you can. Well, actually, I'd say NECA do better, but NECA's articulation is not that good, is it? Let's face it.
No.
But yeah, these were made by Playmates, and I remember my granddad got me the van, like the turtle van, and I loved it. And I played with it so much, I just wore it out over time. Like it had fire and missiles, and they just didn't fire anymore. It was like the springs and stuff had gone and everything. Yeah, I had all of them. And then we moved on to when Revenge of the Sith came out, and the best Star Wars film ever. Easy. I remember I still have them. 2 or 3 crates full of these, along with the Clone Wars ones as well. But,
I do think it's around that era though was the last time that Star Wars 3.75 figures are really good. I do think like the vintage collection does still look good, but there was a massive dip in the 3.75s for a long time, and I think these were the last of it because after that they look kind of like 5 point of A1 sort of took over, like the very cheap ones you could find, B&M and all that sort of stuff, didn't you? But yeah,
I used to have all of them. I remember the Mace Windu that I still got. You squeeze his legs, and you go like that. That's pretty bad.
All
And
these
Anakin,
figures that you could squeeze their legs.
yeah, and Anakin did it as well. It was like that in Finn, I guess, back then, like action kind of.
I think I had a few of these. I remember having like Ket Fisto. He had like a magnet in his hand and stuff like that.
And none of them held their
and
lightsabers.
they had, like, metal lightsaber helts. They had like yeah.
None of them held their lightsabers or guns, so you pretty much had to keep the bands. You know, like the old rubber bands that used to come.
Yeah, they had that little plastic bit in it. Yeah. Same as the old Clone War figures as well, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what all of my old Clone Wars ones still have the band on their hands to hold their gun in. But yeah, like none of them held their stuff, but they still have these. They sell some of these in Nerd Base when I go in there, and I walk past them and think, oh, I could do getting some of these.
Yeah, if you could buy one figure, you still got the originals, haven't you? So
some of them, I haven't got all of them. Because one of my favourite figures.
With the Power of the Force ones, if I ever see it and it's the Luke and Han with Chewbacca Death Star escape, it was a free pack. I used to have it, and I thought it was like the best looking thing. It had a backdrop, the figures look great, and I was just kind of like, oh, really? If I could ever see that again, I'll get it. But I did actually see it once, and it was like 50 quid. And I was like, no.
So Jacob just said, aside from Transformers, my biggest collection was Lego, mostly Bionicle. You'll see some of that coming up soon. So. How old are you as well? Because you might be a similar age.
I got psychic. Says my dad had a ton of Action Man stuff and had the Royal Marine with a parachute.
Yeah,
I think that's probably like the ones we had.
Yeah, I used to have all the snow troop. Well, I say snow, like snow soldier and all that sort of stuff. But I had quite a lot of clones on this Jedi. And I had this Sidious down here as well, which is one figure they should do in 6-inch. Is him with his red cloak and his lightsaber and stuff. So I'll move on to similar sort of era was WWE/F figures. Who made these? I think it was something like Jax or something, wasn't it?
It's not Mattel.
It's Mattel. Yeah, there was like multiple. There was like Mattel, Jax. I think Hasbro might have delved in and out with it as well. But yeah, I used to have tons of wrestlers. I mean, I could go through them all, but I used to have most of them. I used to have like the ring, the backdrops, the ramp, the cage, like all the ladders and stuff. I used to have it all. Like set up and that, and now I'm looking at some of these and I think, who the hell are they? But I had all the Hardys, Jericho,
Man in Pants.
Yeah, Man in Mask and Pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to have like all the main kind of ones, and then obviously a few like hangers on, John Cena. And I tell you what, these figures and wrestling figures in general are really good sculpts. Like face sculpts. I've always thought that.
Well, to be honest, they're only a tenner as well, normally, aren't they?
Yeah.
I always sort of look to look at some face sculpts just in case I want to do it for a custom, because I think it might be a cheap head swap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I think it's, I don't know, the Hasbro aren't the ones that make them, are they?
No, you just have to do the hot glue technique and stuff like that.
Is it Jazzware that makes them now?
No, I'm sure it's Mattel.
Still, because there's AEW ones as well. There's different wrestling brands now that do. I'll look it up in a minute when it's finished.
And then we'll move on.
Huh?
It's not Playmates, is it?
The new ones, it's not, no. Yeah, so 29, so yeah, it's similar age. There you go. Moved on.
Oh, hot girl pics.
Oh, yeah.
I'm off now. See you later, guys.
Yeah. We're off. Do you want to... You did with that one, yeah?
Yeah, I've done it. It's all right.
Yeah, Bionicles. I had so many of these, and honestly, I wish Lego would come out with them again. I know they do like the Bionicle looking kind of
They're like superheroes and
now,
Star Wars, don't they?
but like if they did the proper Barnacles, because I remember the series they had, the game, it was such a big thing when I was just in the kind of last years of primary school, I guess. So like 9, 10, when this was big, and we all used to like bring our barnacles in and play with them and stuff in school. And used to trade toys. Oh, can I have that one? And swap them around and stuff. I used to love it. And they used to come with all these different parts, and they're really articulate as well. Like you could pose them in all sorts of poses. And yeah, this is one thing I wish they still did in Lego, because mainly now I only do like the cars and stuff.
Yeah, I never saw the fascination in Bionicle, I must admit, and I know they were really, really popular, but to me they just kind of look like a mess. Do you know what I mean? It just kind of looked like Lego just splashed together, and here's a mask.
I guess some of them do, but some of them are really cool.
Well, there was a cartoon with it as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They had a show and everything. Oh, they've got another thing.
Oh my god, we're really popular tonight.
Yeah. There you go. I remember Barnacle toys, comics, movies. That was a big thing for me and my friend. Yeah, it was like Beyblades as well. That was a big thing. But I haven't added that on here because I didn't count them as like figures. Beyblades, but that was a big thing. And then obviously after this, it became the Clone Wars and the stuff that we discussed earlier. But yeah,
so how old? You was quite late getting into Star Wars then.
When
no, I suppose not, because you collected the Revenge of the Sith stuff. So
Attack of the Clones was. So Attack of the Clones came out in 2002, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that would have been the first Star Wars thing I saw. Because Phantom Menace was the year before I was born, I think.
So what about Marvel then? Did you ever collect any Marvel stuff?
Marvel, I did. I had all the old kind of Toy Biz ones. So like I rebought Scorpion. He's the only one I've rebought. I'll get a picture up.
I do think the old Star Wars stuff.
I didn't get a picture up of Marvel because kind of everyone knows what Toy Biz is.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really bother. But I just found the stuff, the early 2000 Marvel stuff, I used to find it really ugly. It just like Spider-Man looked really gangly. I did have the.
It was like ball joint man, wasn't it, that we came up with?
Yeah, I mean, I had the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and he come with a little kind of like statue thing, thing that stuck out, and he could hang from it and stuff. I had a couple of those. I used to like dab into a few bits because I thought they were cool, like some Halo figures now and again, and the Gears of War figures.
One figure, right, that I wish I could find now is this Green Goblin. This Green Goblin has better articulation than most of today's figures.
But they were a lot smaller back then, though, weren't they? I'm sure they felt like literally like a very
5 to 6 inch
thin scale. Yeah,
but
very sort of.
This Goblin goes for so much now online, and I can't get him. Because I used to have this, and he used to be my favourite toy. I used to take him everywhere. You know, when you're a kid and you used to take your favourite toy out with you?
Yeah.
He was taken out everywhere. And he had a removable mask and everything. He was really cool. But I keep looking around like loose kind of action figures and stuff for him, but I can never find him anywhere. I just like his glider. I mean, his glider's 10 times better than what Marvel Legends are now.
Yeah. I think sooner or later they will be bringing him out, I reckon.
Whoa, I'm surprised they haven't brought him out in the Far From Home one wave.
Really. I know.
I mean,
I know which one it's going to be, though. The crappy one where it's got like his. I kind of hope that they put like faceless and mask in it.
I reckon it's going to be without the mask, and he's going to have just the hood.
Yeah, I mean, if they brought him out for about 35 quid, with a glider, movable head, like mask, so you can have like 2 versions of him, but they would never do 2 versions like that because they know it's 2 figures.
Yeah,
and they would get double.
So they'll do the one without all the cloak and stuff on.
So we just use the back again.
Are we getting?
On to these ones. Later, they made Hero Factory, which didn't have the same success. So after they tried rebooting Bionicle with the new toys, even Netflix series, they didn't even catch up as the OG. I think they started investing. I mean, did you ever watch Ninjago?
Yeah.
I loved that.
It was.
My boy got into that.
It weren't big, really, when I was that sort of age, but.
No, I think as the series is progressed, it got bigger. It was kind of like a.
They still do it all, don't they?
Didn't have all Bionicle on. No, I think it's finished now, isn't it?
Yeah, but you still see Ninjago.
Hero Factory made it from cheaper plastic. They're very prone to breaking. Always pissed me off as they break and can always see stress marks. Yeah, it's pretty much like a lot of Technic stuff as well back in the day
then. I guess back then.
Struggling to see.
No, yeah, I have to.
So,
my light is right in my eyes. I guess a lot of plastics back then was cheaper anyway in general, wasn't it? I mean, now
I think they use cheaper plastic now. Like sometimes you get a Marvel Legends out of the packet. I mean, I've got. I'm gonna try and lift my arm, but that's really.
Figures are too heavy for him.
He gets sold. Yeah, this one I got back in 1980. But this feels really hollow. Doesn't feel full.
Bigger though.
Doesn't feel like.
That's the same with
Yeah, well, it's just like tinny and plastic.
It's similar to that newer Venom, isn't it? So. Yeah, Ninjago never really was big for me. Lego Star Wars was. And
yeah, I saw Ninjago. It was okay, but didn't manage mine. Yeah, I think it's because I used to watch it with my boy, and I used to like it. So you kind of sort of grow accustomed to it.
Yeah.
And then we used to watch it, and then he got into it really quite only like a season, and we went out and got him all the Lego and stuff like that. And that was the time I was into Lego. So
that's what's funny though, isn't it? When you're a kid, it's like you're into that now, and then you've toys, and then about a month later, I don't like that. I'm into that now.
Yeah, I had so many different things that I mean, I could even do like a massive like display of everything that I used to collect. There's ones called Skeleton Warriors. They were really cool looking. Like there was this massive like skeleton with like loads of different arms and stuff.
Like, the old soldiers and tanks and stuff like that.
I used to loads. Lego was a thing that always kind of come out every year. I had a massive suitcase of it, and I used to drag it down the stairs. We would play with it for about 2 months, and then it would go back in the box, go back upstairs, and then it would be back onto something else, or something new will come out.
Yeah, you'd kind of like change, wouldn't you? Like,
you get the train set out for like a week, and you're like, no, put it back. Like,
I used to have knights and castles and stuff. There's all sorts.
Yeah, we had in the 80s or 90s, we had the Kenner line as well of Aliens and Predator. So I used to have a few of those. The Jurassic Park figures as well. Another thing I completely forgot about. I used to have those, all the dinosaurs. Again, 3.75, and they went with Star Wars. And
that stuff's still going as well.
Yeah.
Newer.
But the dinosaur things back then, it was all that kind of sort of feel. It was all like real kind of texture. It's like real dinosaur skin. Well, it weren't. It was just like rubber vinyl. But
yeah, but it's like when you like kind of like playing about with it, it'll just rip.
Yeah. No, it was really tough. The T-Rex I had, it was huge. It was massive. I can't even get both my arms in there because that's how big it was. But it was just like, had a huge head. You smack it on the floor and it made like thunder sort of steps and stuff. I don't know how big it is now. Like, probably I'll get it over about that big. But when I was a kid, it felt massive. It was like,
I found that like I got out when I got that scorpion. I thought it was bigger than that. Like when I got it,
you got these big hands now. You're like, oh my god,
yeah.
It's like a Lego figure.
Oh yeah, like Lego felt massive building one of them. Like just a small Star Wars ship felt like this.
But also, you keep things in your head from when you were a kid as well, because you remember getting it, you think it's so cool and amazing. And I remember getting the Ayla Secure figure from the Clone Wars, thinking, she's amazing, like a really good looking figure. Then I get her out for the Ayla Secure review for Black Series. I was like, oh my gosh, she looks awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
I got my one out and I gave it to Belle and I was like, oh, here you go. And it just fell to pieces. I was like, oh, that's not how I remember.
It was like gnarling on it, but yeah, I mean, I gave all my Clone Wars to my boy, but he was never into it. You know, I know, he never got. And I was like, because when you kind of like, I'm done with that collection now. Off you go on, you can have it. You can play with it. But I always made sure, like, if he was playing with it, I was like, make sure you give him that weapon back, and they got all the helmets and stuff.
Yeah, technically you're just kind of playing with.
They weren't lend. They were never his.
Yeah, you're just playing with it through them. I do that with some of.
I mean, if you still got them, they go for a lot of money, and I sold quite a few.
I know some of them do. Yeah,
I sold about 4 figures, and I made about 200 quid. It was like
because we were talking about that the other day, weren't we?
Yeah.
I was saying that I still have quite a few of them.
That's what paid for my vehicles from Amazon.
Some of the vehicles as well.
Yeah, so it's all pretty good. But yeah, that's kind of where we are now. Right, up to date.
Up to date, yeah. And then kind of
Power Rangers, Black Series.
Yeah, after Clone Wars, I kind of stopped, and then Black Series was when I started off again. Ninja Turtles, yeah.
Ninja Turtle figures, but can get any right now. I'm trying to collect NECA movie turtles. Well, also for some of my turtles, unofficial Ninja Turtles.
See, I've got the movie ones. Honestly, they're not worth it.
I'll keep looking at the bootleg ones.
Yeah, they're not worth it. Like, they are really good, but it's NECA articulation. So what you think you want to do with them, you won't be able to do with them. So you're better off going for like the kind of animated ones they make. Look better.
Well, yeah. Well, hopefully they got better articulation. They
look better articulation.
Yeah.
But obviously, like a lot of the NECA stuff, like my Starlight, who's still there, Snap Feet.
I always find like turtles, they never really make a really good looking turtle figure. It's either like the cartoony or those, but there's always a certain look about them that they're just always slightly off. I remember about 2014.
Well, I think the NECA ones are actually all right. Like the movie ones, like look wise, they're quite good. I think I've got. I don't know if he's in there. Oh no, it's not. It's just their box with the accessories in. But that's the Casey and Raphael.
Jones.
Yeah, Casey Jones.
But I've got over here. I've got like either 4-inch, 5-inch, the Nickelodeon ones from the 2012.
Jacob, so have you actually seen any of like reviews of them? Because if you want, I'll just get them all out and I'll show you articulation on them, and I'll do a video. I'll do it anyway. Do it anyway.
Just a Scabari.
Yeah.
Well, you can always go through and do those on your videos. Doesn't have to be new figures. You could just go right.
Yeah, no, I might just go through all of them.
Especially when you have a hard up month and you can't buy anything.
Oh yeah, not much has really come out either this month, has it?
No, Ghost Rider's out. I'm really looking at the Daredevil pack as well.
Is that a 3-pack?
And And supposedly December, especially the 3-pack Spider-Man that's come out, isn't it? But
what one's that? Is that Carnage?
no.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, from
that.
The 3-pack Spider-Man. Like, what was the film called?
That? Did we pre-order that?
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. I can't remember who I pre-ordered it with, though. Might have been.
Yeah, I always do that. I'd get randomly get an email. Oh. Neko usually goes for, I made peace with that, and that's why I'm going for the Fury choice. Samurai Turtles. Alright, should we end up there then?
Yeah, it's over an hour, isn't it? So, yeah, it's been quite nice to go down memory lane and get this up to scratch, so people can actually see where
how old some of them look as well.
Yeah, I think some do still hold the end of time, and then other times things look a little bit off.
Yeah,
but I do think toys went through quite a rough period about 2008 to until now.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a time with kids stopped collecting, adults grew up, and then those kids that beforehand wanted toys now are adults. So and that's where a lot of these toy lines are sort of more dedicated to you. And I reckon anyone that sort of maybe, well, I don't know, because some of the people on the channel, but I reckon the ratio of people maybe about 5 years younger than you aren't collectors.
No.
You got the few, which is kind of come from their fathers and down, but I reckon there's a lot of people now that's like even lesser of a collector for figures and stuff compared. Right, so yeah, we end it there then. So thank you all so much for joining us and Callum on this toys that made us alive. So if you're watching it just afterwards, just pop down in the bottom, pop in your comments what other figures that you haven't heard or missed or surprised that we didn't collect. Let us know in the comments down below. So take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.